Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to look at number 28, and in this question you're given two strings called a needle and a haystack, and your job is to find out if the needle is inside the haystack, and if it is, you return the index of the first occurrence of needle. So for example, you might be given a haystack which contains multiple needles. So in this case the needle is sad, and you can see sad is shown here twice, but you want to return the index of the first occurrence. So in this case the result is 0 because that's where it starts. And if there is no needle at all in the haystack, you return a -1. So let's take a look at how to solve this. Suppose you're given the haystack as rainbow and the needle as rain. In order to see if rain is part of rainbow, what you can do is loop over each character in the haystack and then see if the first character of the needle matches the character in the haystack. So in the first iteration of the loop, it's going to start with R, and then it's going to check if the first character in the haystack is also R, in which case, in this case, it's true. So using this as an anchor point, you can now loop over the rest of the characters in the needle and then also do the comparison with the rest of the characters in the haystack. And if you find a match here, you know needle is part of the haystack, and you can return the initial anchor point index. And this is the place where you can find the needle inside the haystack, and you can return I. All right, so right off the bat, there are two cases when you can return -1 immediately. And that is when the needle is empty and when the needle length is greater than the haystack length, at which point you know the needle is not going to be part of the haystack. You can take care of that like if needle.length equals to 0, or if needle length is greater than haystack length, then return -1. And now you can loop over the haystack. And inside each iteration, what you'll do is check if the first character in the needle matches the character that is currently being looked at in the iteration inside the haystack. So if needle of 0 equals to haystack of I, then we want to verify the following characters in the needle matches the following characters in the haystack. And we do that by writing another loop to go over the characters inside the needle. Since we already used I, let's call it J, and it's going to start at 0, and J less than needle.length and J++. Now we again check if needle of J equals to haystack of I plus J. And the reason we have I plus J is the needle may be somewhere deep inside the haystack. It might start at the middle of the haystack, for example. So starting at that position, we want to increment by +1 or +2, depending on the character in the needle that we're looking at as well. So we have this condition as well. And let's change this to not equals to, actually. And in case at any point the subsequent characters in the needle doesn't match the subsequent characters in the haystack, we can break out of this loop and then continue on with checking the rest of the characters inside the haystack. And we need one more condition to check if we have compared the last character in the needle with the character in the haystack. We can tell we are looking at the last character in the needle when J is equals to needle.length -1. So adding that condition as well, we have if J equals to needle.length -1. And if we have reached this point, it means all the other characters so far have matched because this condition hasn't triggered yet. So when we're inside this if condition, we know we have compared all the characters so far and they all matched. And this being the last character and also matching, we know the whole needle has been found inside the haystack. So at this point, we can return the index I. If we're at a point when we return out of both these loops and still haven't returned here, then that means the needle was not found anywhere in the haystack. And at the end, we can also return -1, and that should be it. All right, thanks for watching and see you next time.